Hello everyone, welcome to Two Love Birds Workshop. In this video we're going to show you how we took this papercraft soccer field and converted it into a wooden soccer field so that we could play with it like a board game. This is my son Zachary. He's the one who came up with the original idea of this papercraft, and he modeled it after a flick soccer game that he's seen before. So I'm going to let him tell you how he built that.
So I used 5 popsicle sticks, you can see here, half a cup here, and then 2 sheets of paper, and then I used Scotch tape to tape it all around. And then in the end, I used a Sharpie to write everything down and the field. So that's how I made it.
Okay, alright, let's go jump into it and see how this was built out of wood. The video will flow like this. We're going to go show how it was cut, how it was painted, how it was assembled. We'll get some gameplay time in, and then we'll talk about things we like about it and the things that we could correct about it. Let's go.
See ya.
Okay, now let's do a comparison of the two models. We have the playing field, the border wall, the ball storage, and the goal. In the new model on the right, we actually added a goalkeeper, extra ball storage, and a down ramp that allows the ball to return to the defender if successfully stopped. Now we move on to the cutting phase. In this section right here, we're using a 1/8 inch end mill to create a pocket down on the playing field that will hold the field lines. Later on, we'll laser cut the field lines that will then be inserted down into this pocket. And this pocket is only about 1/8 inch thick, just enough to allow the piece of laser material to be inserted in. After the pocket, we then move on to doing a profile cut on the entire field. This will cut the piece out so we can remove it from the waste material. We also ended up cutting out the 2 pieces of wood that will serve as the side pieces to hold the metal rods for the goalkeeper later on. Next we move on to cutting the pieces that would be used to assemble the goal, as well as the border walls and some extra side pieces for the bottom. You also notice that I'm cutting some extra pieces here that I thought I was going to end up needing at the bottom, but I eventually ended up not using. Now we're cutting the base of the game, as well as some extra goal assembly pieces. I'm also pocketing some holes around the border of the base that will serve as a guide for the screws that I'll use to assemble the base to the frame later. Now we're cutting the goalkeeper, the handle for the goalkeeper, and I ended up cutting a couple more side pieces because I was unsure how I wanted to orient that bottom frame and the 2 metal rods that are going to be used. And the last few pieces we'll be cutting on the CNC are the ball storage components and the bottom frame sides. The ball storage consists of 4 different circles glued and stacked on top of each other, and the bottom layer actually has the design of a soccer ball itself. Now that we have all our pieces cut, I'm just going to sand them all down with 220 grit sandpaper just to make sure there are no sharp edges on it or pieces of dust that would interfere with the paint job. Now it's time to laser out the field lines. There's just 2 white pieces here, and I'm using whiteboard for this part of the project. As you can see on the left, it did take me a few tries to get the correct offset value that would allow this piece to snap down into the field. All right, now that we got all our pieces cut with the CNC and the laser, it's time to move on to paint prep. In this step, I'll be attaching painter's tape to wood sticks and then attaching our project pieces to that tape. And what this does is it'll allow the pieces to maintain the same spot without slipping and sliding while I'm spraying them with paint. Now it's time to paint. I'll use 5 different colors of paint during this paint session. Matte white, matte black, gloss green, and gloss classic gray, which you see me spraying here right now. Some of these pieces, especially the frame parts, required double-sided painting, so I don't show that in this video. Now it's time to assemble. We'll start off with the playing field. First, we're going to attach the field lines with Loctite super glue and the border sides with 18 gauge brad nails. Next, we'll attach the middle frame to the playing field. First, we'll drill our pocket holes in, and then we'll use pocket hole screws to attach the border pieces to the bottom of the playing field. We did use the Allen clamps to help us hold pieces in place while we were doing this procedure. Next, we'll assemble the ball storage pieces with super glue and attach them to the base frame with 18 gauge brad nails. Now it's time to build the goal. I used this mesh fabric that I got from Amazon to serve as the goal net. My original thought was I was going to lay the goal frame down onto the mesh net, and I was going to use the X-Acto knife just to trace it out and attach it like there so it would be very precise. But the mesh fabric was actually much stronger than I expected, so I ended up having to use scissors to cut this piece out. We attached the mesh fabric to the goal frame, and then the goal frame to the border sides with super glue.
3, 2, 1.
We add 3 more wood pieces to the goal frame and cut a bigger section of fabric to cover the top and back of the goal. We attach the last 5 pieces of goal to the existing pieces and put super glue in between. This will all help hold the net down and prevent it from tearing apart when the ball hits it. Now we'll assemble the goalie sliding mechanism with stainless steel rods and plastic spacers and the goalie itself. I sprayed the rods with WD-40 to help the goalie slide easier.
Yeah.
Let's finish assembling the sides and bottom of the goal. I'm also going to add rubber strips to the bottom to prevent it from sliding around during gameplay.
Yeah. Go.
Is it hard to move it?
It is because I got to put those rubber things on.
Wait, here, let me try. I think we have a problem. Oh no.
It was at this point we realized that the sliding mechanism was not smooth at all. Using the extended handle from the back caused friction between the 2 bars and the plastic spacers. I noticed that grabbing the handle from the center between the 2 bars and moving it made it flow smoother. The other problem that came along with doing it this way is that the game itself wasn't high enough for my hand to fit in comfortably and move the goalie back and forth. So I decided to cut and paint bigger pieces to make the overall goal bigger so my hand could fit in and I could slide the goalie easy. Time to disassemble the whole thing.
let's proceed with the first song.
Now that it's all back assembled, time to test it out and get some playtime in.
Huh?
Go. I see you did. Try it again. Ah, you scored on me. All right, go again.
Why?
All right, so we got some playtime in, and overall, I'm pretty happy with the build and how it played out. I think the play area is a good size. I think the ball holder was a good fit. It held a lot of balls, allowed you to continuously play without having to keep fetching balls back and forth. The goalie, I felt like was a good height. He was able to defend the ball and actually rewarded players if they're able to hit the ball over his head like it would be in a normal soccer game. Now there are some things that I would change about it. First being the sliding mechanism here. As you saw in the previous video when we were doing the gameplay and even before doing the build phase, this here didn't slide very smooth. It's sliding smooth now, but if you happen to pull it at a certain angle, it would get stuck. See, it got stuck right there. So the way I achieved this was I used those plastic spacers on this metal rod. I'm not sure if I would use a metal spacer on the metal rod, if this would have made it slide smoother. Maybe something I investigate later and swap out to see. Second thing that I probably would change if I were to do this again is the rod was only 11.8 inches. When I originally designed this entire box, I designed it to be only 11 inches, which is why I had to add a block here and a block here to conceal that metal rod inside it. If I were to do it again, maybe I would just make the entire box the width of this, so I wouldn't need that extra piece. The next piece I would change is the goal. Overall, I felt like it's pretty good and it held up well. I probably would extend the goal to come all the way back here, so it's a bigger goal, so when you make the ball, it would actually stay inside of the net instead of bouncing back out immediately. And then the last thing I would add is handles. This is a big box, a big game. I feel like if I would have put some handles either here on the side or on the front, it would have made the game easier to carry. Maybe something similar to what I have here. But thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy watching it. And you know, if you have any comments about things we could do better to make this game better or fix the sliding issues or any of the issues I mentioned, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll check it and respond after I see them. Thanks.